Ontario public servants are heading back to the office. Instead of working just 3 days a week at the office, they're going to be working four come the fall and then five come the new year. Joining me now to talk about this is Caroline Mulroney. She is the president of the Treasury Board. That is the cabinet position that looks after so much of government that doesn't get the credit for it. And she joins me now from her office in Toronto. Minister, thanks so much for the time.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
It's been almost 5 years of people working out of the office. Why the change now?
Well, it's time. Remote work developed during the pandemic in response to a public health emergency where people could not come to work. But it's time to bring people back. It's the reality for so many Ontarians already, and we believe that the public service should reflect the realities of the Ontario people and businesses that we serve.
I saw the premier being asked about this, and he was standing at a construction site out in Pickering. Those guys on the construction site, they can't work from home. I think of the restaurant workers, the retail workers. They can't work from home. So there is some opposition to this from people who say, oh, no, like I'm better. I should be entitled to this. How do you respond to that? I mean, you've got different classes of people being able to work from home and different classes of people that can't.
I'll say two things. One, you're absolutely right. The reality for many Ontarians is that they are already working 5 days a week in their workplace. And almost more than half of the Ontario Public Service is also already working 5 days a week in their workplace.
Sorry, can you just repeat that? How much?
The Ontario Public Service already is working in their workplace.
So who would that be? Would that be like the Service Ontario folks, or
a lot of Service Ontario workers, corrections workers, inspectors? So there are a lot of people who are already in their workplace 5 days a week. So we're just asking.
So who hasn't been then? Like, what's the difference? Who's been working remotely 2 to 3 days a week, and who hasn't been?
Well, a lot of the office workers have had that flexibility to work remotely. And we've given people that flexibility since the end of the pandemic. But now, the landscape has changed. We see a lot of companies, not just in Canada, the banks are bringing people back, but some of the largest companies like Amazon and Dell, they're bringing their employees back 5 days a week because it provides for a better outcome. People get to work together in their teams, collaborate, share ideas. I think it's better from an outcome perspective, but also for employees overall. So we're just bringing people up to join the rest of the public service.
Now, I'm not going to be too judgmental. I have been a remote worker for a good part of my career, but I have an office at Queen's Park. You see me there now and again. I've got an office over on Bloor at the Post Media. I can work from home. That's just the nature of my job, though. Being a journalist, you have to be able to move around. You have to go to events. You have to talk to people, but you have to be out and about. You can't just sit at home and do your job. But there is pushback from the union saying that you are trying to control when and where people work. And my thought was, isn't that what all employers do?
Well, as the employer, we have the right to ask people to return to the office and to their workplace 5 days a week. But at the same time, the workplace reflects the realities of these individual jobs. And so, if you're an inspector, you'll be moving around. Your workplace changes. But we are asking people when if their workplace is an office, to return to the office 5 days a week, to join their coworkers on a regular basis, to collaborate, to share ideas. We think it's going to deliver better public services for Ontarians.
The federal government is in a bit of a pickle on this type of situation because they got rid of an awful lot of office space during the pandemic. So they couldn't bring people back, is my understanding. They couldn't bring them back to 5 days a week if they wanted to because they don't have the desks. They've moved to a hoteling system in terms of you just show up and you work at whatever desk is available. They just did not renew an awful lot of leases. Are you in a similar position, or do you still have the office space to accommodate everyone coming back to 5 days a week?
Well, we have a lot of space available now, but what we announced today, Brian, is a gradual return to work policy. So we're going to be bringing people back 4 days a week at the end of October, on October 20th, and then 5 days a week in the new year on January 5th. And we'll be working with the Ministry of Infrastructure and Infrastructure Ontario to address any real estate needs that we have as we're bringing people back.
Okay, so let me ask you two other things. One, young employees and being mentored. You and I have, I don't want to say mean things about you, Minister, but you and I have been in the workplace for a little while now, and we're no longer being mentored in the same way we were when we were just entering. I can't imagine what it's like to be a young worker, getting your first or second job, getting your start, getting your break, and not having that environment where you show up and learn how to do the job from your colleagues. Is that part of why you want to bring people back? Because how do you move up within an organization if you're not seeing people?
Well, you heard the Premier today in his press conference. He talked about the fact that you can't mentor people over the phone, and he's absolutely right. And so there are a lot of people who are new or newly entered the workforce who haven't had the benefit of that. But there are all sorts of other reasons too. I mean, you and I, when we see our colleagues, it's important to be able to spend time with them, to get to know them, to work with them, to look them in the eye when we're discussing ideas.
It gives you a better relationship back and
Ab-
forth.
ab- Absolutely. So I think from an employee perspective, there's so many benefits. It reduces isolation, it brings people together, and I think that from a Treasury Board perspective, it also helps deliver better services for the people that we serve.
In terms of attracting people, though, to play devil's advocate here, I have talked to recruiters, I've talked to major employers who say either complete remote work or complete back to work. People don't want that, and they won't apply for those jobs, or they won't seek out employment in those organizations. So if you don't have an office that people can go to, they don't want to work there. But if you say you got to be there 5 days a week, ooh, that's a bit of a problem as well. Do you worry at all about worker retention as you tell people they got to go back to work Monday to Friday?
Well, I think the trend is towards 5 days in the workplace. The big banks have announced that they're going 4 days. Rogers has announced that they'll be going to 4 or 5 days. As I said, Amazon and Dell, some of the largest corporations in North America as well. So I think that this is a trend. And as I said, there's so many Ontarians already that are working like this who are in their workplace 5 days a week. And so we're just asking the rest of the public service to do the same.
All right, Minister Mulroney, thanks so much for the time, and good luck with this return to work. It's, in my view, far overdue, and I say that as someone that often works from home but wishes he had more offices to go to. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Brian. Have a good day.